New Orleans culture is unique in the sense that it's not tainted from what it was at its foundation. Up until today, the foundational elements of what New Orleans is all about are still in place, and you walk down the street and you see it. It's in the architecture, it's in the cuisine, the music that they play, the styles that they play. People are there who are basically preserving that. For anybody who comes there, they can experience it right now. My name is Jon Batiste. I'm a pianist. I'm also the associate musician in residence around Lincoln Center, and I also work at the National Jazz Museum in Harlem as the artistic director at large. I grew up in Kenner, Louisiana, which is 15 minutes west of New Orleans, and I would go to New Orleans and play in the clubs at night and go to school. I went to NOCA, and then I would play around town in the French Quarter on Frenchman Street. Then I would go back to Kenner, and it was like the juxtaposition helped me to reflect and soak in how different a place is like New Orleans than anywhere else. It's some place that has to be preserved. It's the epitome of what America is about, in the sense of all of these people coming together. It's a community, and all of these influences coming together, and the spirit of it, the soulfulness of it. My background is varied in the sense of I've come from a musical family in New Orleans that I was very fortunate to be a part of. I kind of grew up in a musical environment, and I didn't really think that it was abnormal. Then I found out as a teenager, when I started to travel, hey, it's not really like this everywhere. So that kind of experience with, the sounds and rhythms of New Orleans and the culture of New Orleans. Then moving to New York, I've been here for 10 years, going to the conservatories. I studied at Juilliard, undergraduate and master's degree, and doing classical piano outside, doing recitals as a child as well. There's like this dichotomy. You got this street folk culture in New Orleans, and then you got this kind of very highbrow, very disciplined kind of a culture with Juilliard. And then New York, it's this global mix. It's like 160 countries come together as one in this small spot, and how they come together creates this unique place on earth that's the portal to the rest of the world. So my experience that's brought me to this point with Stay Human has been all of those things coming together through, my experience being in this generation in 2013. I mean, it's a deep time. Woo! And I think for me to have that experience and be fortunate enough to also come from the culture that is the birthplace of jazz music and of so many beautiful cultural blends, I have to share that. It's like a responsibility. It's not necessarily something that I feel like I have to do, but I'm compelled to do it, and I feel that it's a responsibility because if I don't do it, who will? Jazz music is something that's a lineage. It's a continuum. It's not about they did this in the past and now I'm here and forget about what happened then. It's more like let's build on what happened then. They did this so that now I have the opportunity to do what I'm doing right now. It's not like technology. I'm not the upgrade. Like I'm not the next phone or the next computer so the other one isn't as good anymore. It's they did this so now I'm adding to this legacy. Jazz music has informed how I approach playing anything that I play. Now, social music is not jazz. What I'm thinking about with social music is the idea of this generation being connected more than it's ever been. You got the internet bringing people together. You might be in Japan and we can talk like we're talking right now. And there's so many things going on with social media and so many conversations that are happening. Of course, it's going to affect the music. And the audience is feeling it too. You got the iPod generation where we're listening and we're constantly genre hopping. Whether we know it or not, people are listening to stuff on their iPod. Even if they're not a jazz fan, they might have one or two jazz songs on there, and they go and listen to some rock, some pop music. And then you hear these artists that feel it, and instead of naming the music that we play based on like some super hyphenated pop, rock, jazz, electronica, reggae, country, dubstep, I decided to name it based upon the intent of the music and what I wanted it to do to people when they hear it. So social music it's a montage of musical traditions played with the spirit of inclusiveness and meant to bring people together through a live musical experience. And I think that's what social music is really all about, the perceived generation gap or separation between people based on background or class. When you're thinking about music, at the beginning of all great music, that never was the case. You could play. It don't matter if you black, white, poor, rich. If you came on the stage, Charlie Parker heard you, he was like, oh man, that cat's bad. You was in there. Benny Goodman was playing with Teddy Wilson at the time when Teddy, he couldn't be in the same restaurant or hotel as Benny, but they played at Carnegie Hall. You know what I'm saying? It's like the lessons in that are at the foundation of what social music is all about. The name Stay Human isn't necessarily the band name more than it's our philosophy and what we want to occur when we step onto the stage to perform. Never forgetting the power of that live music experience and that genuine human exchange. And when we go up to any person, whether we're playing to them in the subway or we're playing to them on the stage somewhere in a big venue at a theater or whatever, it's about connecting and communicating. And these guys in the band understand how to communicate on their instruments. That's their greatest strength. They each individually know how. It's more than just a band for me. There's a lot of camaraderie. We're boys, you know. We hang out, and when we're on stage, it's like we're hanging out. In the tradition of bringing people together and all of the great things over time that have brought people together, I feel like music is at the top. So if we're going to play social music, we have to immerse ourselves into the social consciousness of wherever we are. If you get around on public transit, you notice people who would never be next to each other, are never in the same orbit, or would never have anything in common in their mind, are sitting 2 inches apart from each other, and they have to. So we figure if we immerse ourselves into that, bring the music to those people where they are, and then they have these people who also may never experience what it is that we have to offer, and it would enrich their life, but they don't even know it yet. We're bringing it to all of those people. That's what social music is about. It's bringing it to everybody, and there's something in it for you. Whether you like jazz or you like rock or you like pop, whatever it is you like, it's about the experience. And through that experience, we bring together all of these people who would never come together. So that's what a love ride is. It was something that happened on the Lower East Side one night after a show. Spontaneously, we walking up the street, we start playing. Then 100 people come, 200 people come. Street get blocked off. Then the police have to come with the horseback to stop everything. And we call it a love riot because it's kind of like a riot, but it's not negative. You feel all these people coming together, you see people talking to each other, it's like, wow, that's deep that person is conversating with that person. And we in New York, and it's surreal, you know what I mean? So we try to do that everywhere we go, even if it's a restaurant or the beach. Let's go. We all humans. And the shared humanity is really the most important thing to remember if you're looking at your fellow man or your fellow woman. We have this thing that is the core of everybody that's the same, which makes everything else that's different much more irrelevant. And music can illuminate that for people in a way that I don't think anything else really can, because it's not words. It's a universal language. My name is Jon Batiste. My new album is entitled Social Music. Yes, indeed. Look for me on Last.fm. All right now.